Cantos 73 to 76 of Book 3 of the Ramayana of Valmiki, translated by Ralph J.H. Griffith. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Om123. Canto 73, Kavanda's Counsel. The monster ceased. The princely pair heard great Kavanda's eager prayer. Within a mountain cave they sped, where kindled fire with care they fed. Then Lakshman in his mighty hands brought ample store of lighted brands, and to a pile of logs applied the flame that ran from side to side. The spreading glow with gentle force consumed Kavanda's mighty course, till the unresting flames had drunk the marrow of the monstrous trunk, as balls of butter melt away amid the fires that over them play. Then from the pyre, like flame that glows, undimmed by cloudy smoke, he rose, in garments pure of spot or speck, a heavenly wreath about his neck. Resplendent in his bright attire, he sprang exultant from the pyre, while from neck, arm, and foot was sent the flash of gold and ornament. High on a chariot bright of view, which swans of fairest pinion drew, he filled each region of the air with splendid glow reflected there. Then in the sky he stayed his car, and called to Rama from afar, "Hear, chieftain, while my lips explain the means to win thy spouse again. 6 plans, O prince, the wise pursue, to reach the aims we hold in view. When evils ripening sorely press, they load the wretch with new distress. So thou and Lakshman, tried by war, have felt at last a fiercer blow, and plunged in bitterest grief today, lament thy consort torn away. There is no cause but this, attend, make best of friends the chief thy friend. Unless his prospering help thou gain, thy plans and hopes must all be vain. O Rama, hear my words and seek Sugriva, for of him I speak. His brother Bali, Indra's son, expelled him when the fight was won. With 4 great chieftains faithful still, he dwells on Rishamuka's hill, fair mountain lovely with the flow of Pampa's waves that glide below. Lord of the Vanas, just and true, strong, very glorious, bright to view. Unmatched in counsel, firm and meek, bound by each word his lips may speak. Good, splendid, mighty, bold and brave, wise in each plan to guide and save. His brother, fired by lust of sway, drove forth the prince in woods to stray. In all thy search for Sita he, thy ready friend and help will be. With him to aid thee in thy quest, dismiss all sorrow from thy breast. Time is a mighty power, and none his fixed decree can change or shun. So rich reward thy toil shall bless, and naught can stay thy sure success. Speed hence, O chief, without delay, to strong Sugriva take thy way. This hour thy footsteps onward bend, and make that mighty prince thy friend. With him, before the attesting flame, in solemn truth, alliance frame. Nor wilt thou, if thy heart be wise, Sugriva, Vanar king, despise. Of boundless strength all shapes he wears, he hearkens to a suppliant's prayers, and grateful for each kindly deed, will help and save in hour of need. And you, I ween, the power possess, to aid his hopes and give redress. He, let his cause succeed or fail, will help you, and you must prevail. A banished prince in fear and war, he roams where Pampa's waters flow. True offspring of the Lord of Light, expelled by Bali's conquering might. Go, Raghu's son, that chieftain seek, who dwells on Rishamuka's peak. before the flame thy weapons cast, and bind the bonds of friendship fast. For, Prince of all the Bana race, he in his wisdom knows each place where dwell the fierce gigantic brood, who make the flesh of man their food. To him, O Raghu's son, to him, naught in the world is dark or dim. Wherever the mighty day god glims, resplendent with 1,000 beams, he, over rocky height and hill, through gloomy cave, by lake and rill, will with his banners seek the prize, and tell thee where thy lady lies. And he will send great chieftains forth, to east and west and south and north, to seek the distant spot where she, all desolate, laments for thee. He even in Ravan's halls would find thy Sita, gem of womankind. Yea, if the blameless lady lay on Meru's loftiest steep, or far removed from light of day, where hell is dark and deep, that chief of all the Bana race his way would still explore, meet the cowed giants face to face, and thy dear spouse restore. Canto 74. Kavanda's Death. When wise Kavanda thus had taught the means to find the dame they sought, and asked them onward in the quest, he thus again the prince addressed. This path, O Raghu's son, pursue, where those fair trees which charm the view, extending westward far away, the glory of their bloom display, where their bright leaves rose apples show, and the tall jock and mango grow. Whenever you will those trees ascend, or the long branches shake and bend, their savory fruit like amrit eat, then onward speed with willing feet. Beyond this shady forest, decked with flowering trees, your course direct. Another grove you then will find, with every joy to take the mind. Like Nandan, with its charms displayed, or northern Kuru's blissful shade, where trees distill their balmy juice, and fruit through all the year produce, where shades with seasons ever fair, with Chaitarath may compare, where trees whose praise with fruit are bowed, rise like a mountain or a cloud, there when you list, from time to time, the loaded trees may Lakshman climb, or from the shaken boughs supply sweet fruit that may with amrit vie. The onward path pursuing still, from wood to wood, from hill to hill, your happy eyes at length will rest on Pampa's lotus-covered breast. Her banks with gentle slope descend, nor stones nor weed the eyes offend, and over smooth beds of silver sand, lotus and lily blooms expand. There swans and ducks and curlews play, and keen-eyed ospreys watch their prey, and from the limpid waves are heard glad notes of many a water bird. Untaught a deadly foe to fear, they fly not when a man is near, and fat as balls of butter they will, when you list, your hunger stay. Then Lakshman with his shafts will take the fish that swim the brook and lake, remove each bone and scale and fin, or strip away the speckled skin, and then on iron squeers broil for thy repast the savory spoil. Thou on a heap of flowers shalt rest, and eat the meal his hands have dressed. There shalt thou lie on Pampa's brink, and Lakshman's hand shall give thee drink, filling a lotus leaf with cool, pure water from the crystal pool, to which the opening blooms have lent the riches of divinest scent. Beside thee at the close of day will Lakshman through the woodlands stray, and show thee where the monkeys sleep in caves beneath the mountain steep. Loud-voiced as bulls they forth will burst, and seek the flood, oppressed by thirst. Then rest awhile, their wants supplied, their well-fed bands on Pampa's side. Thou, roving there, at eve shalt see rich clusters hang on shrub and tree, and Pampa flushed with roseate glow, and at the view forget thy woe. There shalt thou mark with strange delight each loveliest flower that blooms by night, while lily birds that shrink from day their tender loveliness display. In that far wild no hand but thine those peerless flowers in wreaths shall twine. Immortal in their changeless pride, never fade those blooms and never are dried. Their erst on holy thoughts intent, their days Matanga's pupils spent. Once for their master food they sought, and store of fruit and berries brought. Then as they labored through the dell, from limb and brow the heat drops fell. Then sprang and bloomed those wondrous trees, such holy power have devotees. Thus from the hermit's heat drops sprung, their growth is ever fresh and young. There Savary is dwelling yet, who served each vanished anchoret. Beneath the shade of holy boughs, that ancient votaress keeps her vows. Her happy eyes on thee will fall, O godlike prince, adored by all, and she, whose life is pure from sin, a blissful seat in heaven will win. But cross, O son of Raghu, over, and stand on Pampa's western shore. A tranquil hermitage that lies deep in the woods will meet thine eyes. No wandering elephants invade the stillness of that holy shade, but checked by Saint Matanga's power, they spare each consecrated bower. Through many an age those trees have stood, world famous as Matanga's wood. Still, Raghu's son, pursue thy way, through shades where birds of vocal stray, fair as the blessed wood where rove immortal gods or Nandan's grove. Near Pampa eastward, full in sight, stands Rishyamukha's wood-crowned height. It is hard to climb that towering steep, where serpents unmolested sleep. The free and bounteous, formed of old by Brahma of superior mould, who sink when day is done to rest, reclining on that mountain crest. What wealth or joy in dreams they view, awaking find the vision true. But if a villain stained with crime that holy hill presume to climb, the giants in their fury sweep from the hilltop the wretch asleep. There loud and long is heard the roar of elephants on Pampa's shore, who near Matanga's dwelling stray, and in those waters bathe and play. A while they revel by the flood, their temples stained with streams like blood. Then when the far away dispersed, dark as huge clouds before they burst. But ere they part they drink their fill of bright pure water from the reel, delightful to the touch, where meet scents of all flowers divinely sweet. Then speeding from the river side, deep in the sheltering thicket hide. Then bears and tigers shalt thou view, whose soft skins show the sapphire's hue. And sylvan deer that wander nigh shall harmless from thy presence fly. High in that mountain's wooded side is a fair cavern, deep and wide, yet hard to enter, piles of rock the portals of the cavern block. Fast by the eastern door a pool gleams with broad waters, fresh and cool, where stores of roots and fruit abound, and thick trees shade the grassy ground. This mountain cave the virtuous-souled Sugriva and his Banas hold, and oft the mighty chief seeks the summits of those towering peaks. Thus spake Kavanta high in air his counsel to the royal pair. Steel on his neck that wreath he bore, and radiance like the sun's he wore. Their eyes the princely brothers raised, and on that blissful being gazed. Behold, we go, no more delay. Begin, they cried, thy heavenward way. Depart, Kavanta's voice replied. Pursue your search, and bliss betide. Thus to the happy chiefs he said, then on his heavenward journey sped. Thus once again Kavanta won a shape that glittered like the sun, without a spot or stain. Thus bade he Rama from the air to great Sugriva's side repair, his friendly love to gain. Canto 75. Savari. Thus counselled by their friendly guide, on through the wood the princes hied, pursuing still the eastern road to Pampa which Skavanda showed, where trees that on the mountains grew with fruit like honey charmed the view. They rested weary for the night upon the mountain's wooded height. Then onward with the dawn they hied, and stood on Pampa's western side, where Savari's fair home they viewed, deep in that shady solitude. The princes reached the holy ground, where noble trees stood thick around, and joying in the lovely view, near to the aged votaress drew. To meet the sons of Raghu came, with hands upraised, the pious dame, and bending low with reverence meet, welcomed them both and pressed their feet. Then water, as beseems, she gave, their lips to cool, their feet to lave, to that pure saint who never broke one law of duty. Rama spoke. I trust no cares invade thy peace, while holy walks and chill increase, that thou content with scanty food, all touch of ire hast long subdued, that all thy vows are well maintained, while peace of mind is surely gained, that reverence of the saints who taught thy faithful heart due fruit has brought. The aged votaress pure of taint, revered by every perfect saint, rose to her feet by Rama's side, and thus in gentle tones replied, My penance meet this day I see, complete, my lord, in meeting thee. This day the fruit of birth I gain, nor have I served the saints in vain. I reap rich fruits of toil and vow, and heaven itself awaits me now. When I, O chief of men, have done honor to thee, the godlike one, I feel, great Lord, thy gentle eye my earthly spirit purify, and I, brave tamer of thy foes, shall through thy grace in bliss repose. Thy feet by Chitrakuta strayed, when those great saints whom I obeyed, in dazzling chariots bright of view, hence to their heavenly mansions flew. As the high saints were borne away, I heard their holy voices say, In this pure grove, O devotee, Prince Rama soon will visit thee. When he and Lakshman seek the shade, be to thy guests all honor paid. Him shalt thou see and pass away to those blessed worlds which never decay. To me, O mighty chief, the best of lofty saints, these words addressed. Laid up within my dwelling lie fruits of each sort, which would supply food called for thee in endless store from every tree on Pampa's shore. Thus to her virtuous guest she sued, and he with heavenly law endeared, words such as these in turn addressed, to her with equal knowledge blessed. Danu himself the power has told of thy great master's lofty soul. Now if thou wilt, mine eyes would fain assurance of their glories gain. She heard the prince his wish declare, then rose she, and the royal pair of brothers through the wood she led, that round her holy dwelling spread. Behold Matanga's wood, she cried, a grove made famous far and wide, dark as thick clouds and filled with herds of wandering deer and joyous birds. In this pure spot each reverend sire with offerings fed the holy fire. See here the western altar stands, where daily with their trembling hands the aged saints so long obeyed by me their gifts of blossoms laid. The holy power, O Raghu's son, by their ascetic virtue won, still keeps their well-loved altar bright, filling the air with beams of light. And those 7 neighboring lakes behold, which, when the saints infirm and old, worn out by fasts, no longer sought, moved hither drawn by power of thought. Look, Rama, where the devotees hung their bark mantles on the trees. Fresh from the bud, those garments wet, through many a day are dripping yet. See, through those aged hermits' power, the tender spray, this bright-hued flower, with which the saints their worship paid, fresh to this hour, nor change nor fade. Here thou hast seen its lawn and dell, and heard the tale I had to tell. Permit thy servant, Lord, I pray, to cast this mortal shell away. For I would dwell, this life resigned, with those great saints of lofty mind, whom I would in this holy shade with reverential care obeyed. When Rama and his brother heard the pious prayer the dame preferred, filled full of transport and amazed, they marvelled as her words they praised. Then Rama to the votaress said, whose holy vows were perfected, Go, lady, where thou fain wouldst be, O thou who well hast honoured me. Her locks in hermit fashion tied, clad in bark coat and black deer hide, when Rama gave consent, the dame resigned her body to the flame. Then, like the fire that burns and glows, to heaven the sainted lady rose. In all her heavenly garments dressed, immortal wreaths on neck and breast, bright with celestial gems she shone, most beautiful to look upon, and like the flame of lightning sent a glory through the firmament. That holy sphere the dame attained, by depth of contemplation gained, where roam high saints with spirits pure, in bliss that shall for aye endure. Canto 76, Pampa. When Savari had sought the skies, and gained her splendid virtue's prize, Rama with Lakshman stayed to brood over the strange scenes their eyes had viewed. His mind upon those saints was bent, for power and might preeminent, and he to musing Lakshman spoke the thoughts that in his bosom woke. Mine eyes this wondrous home have viewed, of those great saints with souls subdued, where peaceful tigers dwell and birds, and deer abound in heedless herds. Our feet upon the banks have stood of those 7 lakes within the wood, where we have duly dipped and paid libations to each royal shade. Forgotten now are thoughts of ill, and joyful hopes my bosom feel. Again my heart is light and gay, and grief and care have passed away. Come, brother, let us hasten where bright Pampa's flood is fresh and fair, and towering in their beauty near Mount Rishamuk's heights appear, which, offspring of the Lord of Night, still fearing Bali's conquering might, with 4 brave chiefs of Vana race, Sugriva makes his dwelling place. I long with eager heart to find that leader of the Vana kind, for on that chief my hopes depend, that this our quest have prosperous end. Thus Rama spoke in battle tried, and thus Sumitra's son replied, Come, brother, come, and speed away, my spirit brooks no more delay. Thus spake Sumitra's son, and then forth from the grove the king of man, with his dear brother by his side, to Pampa's lucid waters hied. He gazed upon the woods where grew trees rich in flowers of every hue. From brake and dell on every side the curlew and the peacock cried, and flocks of screaming parrots made shrill music in the bloomy shade. His eager eyes, as on he went, on many a pool and tree were bent. Inflamed with love he journeyed on, till a fair flood before him shone. He stood upon the water's side, which streams from distant hills supplied. Matanga's name that water bore, there bathed he from the shelving shore. Then, each on earnest thoughts intent, still farther on their way they went. But Rama's heart once more gave way beneath his grief and wild dismay. Before him lay the noble flood, adorned with many a lotus bud. On its fair banks Ashoka glowed, and all bright trees their blossoms showed. Green banks that silver waves confined with lovely groves were fringed and lined. The crystal waters in their flow showed level sands that gleamed below. There glittering fish and tortoise played, and bending trees gave pleasant shade. There creepers on the branches hung, with lover-like embraces clung. There gay Gandharvas loved to meet, and Kinnars sought a calm retreat. There wandering Akshas found delight, snake-gods and rovers of the night. Cool were the pleasant waters, gay, each tree with creeper, flower, and spray. There flushed the lotus darkly red, here their white glory lilies spread. Here sweet buds showed their tints of blue, so carpets gleam with many a hue. A grove of mangoes blossomed nigh, echoing with the peacock's cry. When Rama by his brother's side the lovely flood of Pampa eyed, decked like a beauty fair to see, with every charm of flower and tree, his mighty heart with war was rent, and thus he spoke in wild lament. Here Lakshman on the beauteous shore stands dyed with tints of many an ore, the mountain Rishyamukha bright, with flowery trees that crown each height. Sprung from the chief who, famed of yore, the name of Vriksharajas bore, Sugriva, chieftain strong and dread, dwells on that mountain's towering head. Go to him, best of man, and seek that prince of Vanars on the peak. I cannot longer brook my pain, or Sita lost my life retain. Thus by the pangs of love distressed, his thoughts on Sita bent, his faithful brother he addressed, and cried in wild lament. He reached the lovely ground that lay on Pampa's wooded side, and told in anguish and dismay the grief he could not hide. With listless footsteps faint and slow, his way the chief pursued, till Pampa with her glorious show of flowering oaks he viewed. Through shades where every bird was found, the prince with Lakshman passed, and Pampa with her groves around burst on his eyes at last. End of Cantos 73, 74, 75 and 76. End of Book 3 of the Ramayan of Valmiki. Translated by Ralph J. Griffith.